Well, hello, and welcome to today's episode of the Power of Your Mind podcast. You are listening to episode number 277. I just wanted to do a new view here. I'm Victoria Gallagher, the Law of Attraction hypnotist and number one best-selling author of Practical Law of Attraction. Align yourself with the manifesting conditions and successfully attract your desires. I'm also the founder of HipTalk.com, HypnoCloud apps, and the new upcoming Believe app, which gives you access to over 500 hypnosis recordings right in the palm of your hand. So be sure to download that app from the app stores. And today I have a very special guest with me, Kathleen Cameron. Kathleen is a world famous manifestation coach who works with everyone from Hollywood celebrities to Wall Street. And she is here to talk about her new upcoming book, Best of Yourself, which is releasing early this fall, which by the time this airs, it should already be released. And her new book is encouraging readers to raise their consciousness, awaken their spirits, their minds, their bodies to reach their full potential. And with clear guidance and empathy, the best of yourself takes you through your own journey step by step, providing the tools to succeed, to gain clarity around your passions, dreams, goals for a lifelong fulfillment and balance. And you're going to read how to use divine energies to remove blocks and shift perspectives in a transformative way. And she can be found on her own podcast, which is the Manifested podcast with Kathleen Cameron. Also on Instagram, Kathleen Cameron Manifests. And so today, Kathleen, I say Catherine, I've spoken to Catherine today. Kathleen is going to be sharing some insights on manifesting your best self. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for being on the show. Tell us a little bit about, you mentioned here that, this last few years have been just amazing, amazing time in your life. And so what was going on before that?
Oh my gosh, yeah, take me back. I was a registered nurse for 12 years. I'm a mom of two beautiful girls. I live just outside of Toronto, Canada. And, I lived a traditional life. Got married, went to school, had kids, got the job, rose the ladder, got lots more degrees and certifications. And hopefully, make $100,000 a year. And so I got to that point before I was 40.
Mhm.
And, you would say that I was successful if you had have observed me from the outside, but I was really not happy and not fulfilled. And I always had this feeling like there was something missing or there was something more that I could do. And so I was always striving for that, another degree, another certification, start a side business. I was doing all the things. And in September of 2019, after I actually said goodbye to my nursing career, is when I met Bob Proctor, and you'll know exactly who that is. But
Oh, yeah.
and I took a program with him, and then I started working with him, and he became a dear friend and mentor of mine in the last 2 years of his life, and I quantum leaped my life. I changed everything about it. It went from being very ordinary to extraordinary. So the past 3.5 years have been this collapsing of time, applying everything he taught me. I embodied what he taught me. He would use the word internalized. I
Hmm.
internalized it. I use the word embodiment. That makes a bit more sense to me. But I really just took everything he said and I just did it. And my life outside of me completely shifted as I shifted from the inside. So it's been a beautiful whirlwind. But
Yeah.
that's why I say, it's been quite the journey, and I'm grateful for every moment of it.
That is amazing. And so great that you were able to actually meet the man, before his passing. That was such a sad thing, to lose such an insightful, amazing person. So lucky for you. That he was definitely somebody that was on my list of people I'd love to have on my podcast. So
Oh,
we
Yeah,
Good.
he would have been a great guest. And honestly, he changed my life. His light changed my life. And there was no coincidence that I came into his life in the last 2 years of his, and he came into mine right before he left. So, everything happens for a reason. I do believe there's some legacy work going on here within me, and I'm just stepping up to it.
Absolutely. No, that is wonderful. So, what would you say would be like the thing that you learned from Bob that, really was, I mean, if there was like one single thing that you learned from him that really was the guiding shift for you?
The biggest thing, there's so many things I could tell you, to be honest, but the biggest thing is the simplicity of a thought becomes a thing.
Yeah.
And many of us think that it's like one individual thought becomes a thing. Think of something once and it comes. But what he made very, very clear to me and really, really helped me was that anything that you focus upon, any idea held in the screen of that mind with emotion will come into form. So
Mhm.
instead of seeing this idea that I held in my mind before of a woman who went to work on a daily basis and was moderately successful and whatever, I changed the idea to I can do anything. I can change the world. I'm a woman who does XYZ. And so that new idea became something real in the physical. And that came from my imagination.
Yeah.
That's where she was there, where she was born, the originating thought. So I think that's the biggest thing is like, you don't have to have experienced something. You can actually just go straight from that creative part of your mind and create from there. And I think this is where a lot of people have difficulty believing in their imagination.
I was literally getting ready to ask you that as my next question because that's the thing is the mind, doesn't know the difference between
Mm.
something that is real right in front of your face and something that is on the screen of your mind, your imagination. And so, but you said, a lot of people just really have a hard time with the believing aspect of that.
Mhm.
So why is it so difficult just to believe this very simple concept?
Yeah, because we've been taught that what we observe with our five senses is real, that it's truth, that it's fact. I was a registered nurse and then I became a research assistant for a while. And so that whole like scientific method would tell you that you must observe something in a clinical trial. There would be measurement and
Mhm.
observation to then prove that something is real and that it exists. So we think from the observation of it versus thinking from the observation of our imagination. And so it's just a way that we have been taught to exist and live. And so, the first step is to say, is it possible for me to believe in something that I can't see, smell, taste, touch? Is it possible that this lack of belief in my imagination is what's keeping me from that very thing?
Yeah.
And it's not to say that what's in the imagination doesn't exist, because it certainly does. And that's my reality now. The ability to fly the airplane has always been here. Nobody had to do anything different but become aware of it. So that version of me that was a multimillionaire, changing lives, traveling the world, whatever your desire is for yourself, she was always here. I just had to become aware of her.
Yeah.
And
I
that
love.
awareness was in my imagination. Yeah.
And where do you think that imagination even comes from is always the question that I have because I always tell people that you wouldn't even have the idea pop into your mind of what it is that you want to do if you weren't meant to have it. So
Well,
prove that statement for me.
well, here's the thing, right? Like, I think many people are trying to seek what's meant to be or what's supposed to be or what's possible or what would they love.
Mhm.
But they think that going into the imagination is simply, okay, I'm just going to like make something up and hope it happens. I truly do believe that the imagination is one of God's greatest tools. So we have the ability to imagine because that's where we actually create from.
Mhm.
And so if you can see it in your imagination, that is absolute proof that it already exists, that it is here, and you're just moving it into the observation here in the 3D world. So instead of seeing it as like creating something from scratch and building, like you're actually taking it from the invisible to the visible simply.
So the fact that I love what you said, the fact that it's in the imagination means that there's already a version of this that exists. It's already here. We just need to continue to observe what's already here.
Absolutely.
I
And this is
love that.
and this is why I tell myself stories that are empowering,
Yes.
and I tell myself stories that match what I have in the imagination. So
Yeah.
perception is huge. So what you and I are observing in this very moment are two very different things because we have two completely different consciousnesses with different limitations and possibilities, and so we're going to observe the same thing very differently. So I can observe it in a way that limits me, or I can observe it in a way that empowers me. So I'm always creating this story of like, okay, I saw in my imagination this thing, and so now I'm going to tell myself I'm observing it. And so the more I tell myself I'm observing it, the more faith I have in the imaginative thought. And that's actually how I'm bringing it into the reality.
That's what they say in Think and Grow Rich. He literally says how faith is enhanced is through the process of visualization and imagination.
Yeah, find the evidence, observe
Mhm.
the evidence, look for the signs of land. But faith is the most powerful part of the entire thing, because if you don't have faith, how are you going to hold an image in the imagination when you're visible, when your senses are saying no, like your senses are like, it's not here, it's not here. You know, how do you do that? Through faith. It's so incredibly powerful. I actually have faith tattooed on my arm here
Oh,
to remind myself to take it with me wherever I go all the time.
it's
Uh,
so
and
important.
and that connects me into to my spirit, to my oneness. So this is a beautiful reminder.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that is beautiful. That's a great reminder to our audience to, have that faith.
Mhm.
And you grow that faith and enhance that faith through the power of your imagination.
Mhm.
So yeah, how do you suggest that a person like, is there a is there a they're seeing you, okay? They're seeing and by the way, I mean, Kathleen is, at like you've earned over $25 million in your business, something like
Mhm.
that. You're an eight-figure earner.
Mhm.
And so, many of my subscribers of Power of Your Mind podcast are entrepreneurs. They're into
Mhm.
manifesting, but they
Love it.
haven't been able to manifest at that level yet,
Mhm.
because they look at their current reality, they look at the bills, they look at the fact that they're struggling. They look at like, I haven't even made, six figures, or whatever it is that they're telling themselves. And they, like, how can I get to that next level? So what would you recommend?
Yeah. You know, the point of awareness that I was at when I first started my business wasn't to build a $25 million business. You
Hmm.
know, there was a ladder of belief that I climbed in the realization of this, and
Yeah.
different levels in my concept and identity. So some people will, you know, go from where they're at right now, maybe making $5,000 a month, $3,000 a month. And, you know, they'll hear my story and be like, I want to make millions a year. I want to make $1 million a month. And I'm like, okay, but let's start at progressive rises on the frequencies of vibration. You know, let's not go to a place where you can't relate to it, where you can't believe
Yeah.
fast enough. So I would rather that we actually go down to maybe doubling what you're doing right now.
Hmm.
And let's get to that. Let's match that. Let's shift into that vibrational state and build the belief and the faith around that and climb as you go. So I always climb the ladder, and I always take my clients through a process too. You know, oftentimes we start in the need. I need more money. I need a better job. I need a better relationship. I need to release some weight, whatever that is. And as long as we're in the need, we are never a vibrational match to the end result, ever. It's impossible. That energy will never match. So I move people from need to want. And so the
Hmm.
want then moves into the possibility. That's the abundance. That's the, oh, I can do this. I would love that. That's amazing. So you've moved out of need.
Yep.
Then I move them into believe. So
Mhm.
this is where it's like, I believe it's possible. Oh my gosh, I believe I can do this. I believe I'll have this done by the end of the year. That's the next level. But the manifestation doesn't come until you know that it's already done, until you know you are that version, until you know that I am truly. So really it's about climbing that ladder while
Yeah.
you're climbing the frequencies of vibration.
So what I heard you say is you take them from need to want, and from want to possibility, and from
Mhm.
possibility to belief, and then from belief to know.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then so how do you get a person just from the need to the want?
Mm.
And maybe that's your secret sauce that we don't reveal here. I
Oh, this
don't
is
know.
good.
I always push my guests to give me as much as they can
Yeah.
give me.
No, I think it's a beautiful question. It's always gratitude.
Mm,
Always
mhm.
gratitude. Because if you are always in a state of displeasure about your life,
Yeah.
so the displeasure, things are not the way you want them to be, you're not happy about it, this is wrong, that is wrong, this is a problem that needs fixing, that's the neediness energy. So let's turn around our perspective and our perception and let's move into gratitude. So even though I don't have a lot of money in my bank account, even though I have $10, let's say, I have $10 in my bank account, you can be really grateful for the $10 or you can be really displeased about the $10. The $10 is the same. It's still going to be there. But how you perceive it and how you react to it makes a complete difference in terms of your vibrational state and what you're going to bring to you or repel from you. So for me, it's let's be grateful for the $10 that we have. Let's be grateful for the relationships that we have, even though they're maybe not the way we desire them to be. Let's be grateful for them. Find all the ways in which your life is abundant and prosperous. So you might want to compare yourself to somebody that's not doing as well as you are. And I know some people are like, oh, really, should we be doing that? That's not very nice. Well, otherwise, you're comparing yourself to somebody doing way better, which makes you feel bad. So it's really about shifting your perspective. Nothing in your outside world has to change. Nothing the way you move in this world or your behavior has to change to go from need to want. It's a psychological shift, and so it's really moving out of it into that want energy. So I often say, like in dating, there's this funny phrase. You know what? I want you. I don't need you. Like that's the energy
Mm,
you want to be in. It's
yeah.
like that with anything you're manifesting. So with money, it's like, you know what? I want you, but I don't need you. This job, I want you, but I don't need you. That's the difference between the need and the want, is
Yes.
moving from that place up one level. And it changes your vibrational state immediately. And it changes your experience of life because when you move out of need, you're happier. You're feeling
Mhm.
more fulfilled. You'll have more peace of mind. You're in gratitude.
Absolutely. And the thing is too, is if you don't have it, if you're not able to create the gratitude, because what I'm hearing you say is, you go through these shifts, on the thing that you can shift to right now. But if you don't have it at this level, you're never going to have it. You're
Mm.
always going to be like going for the next thing and not feeling grateful for it. So it's a good habit to get in right now just so that you can continue to
Yeah.
expand and grow and elevate.
Totally. And I've really evolved in the way in which I teach manifestation now. And I truly right now I'm at a place where I say, it's part spirituality,
Yeah.
part personal growth and development. And the
Mhm.
spirituality piece is being present in the moment.
Mhm.
Spirituality is connecting to a higher power. It's the essence of life, allowing it in this moment to be here. The personal growth and development's the elevation, the escalation, the ascension, and the expansion. And so, yes, we want to be present and we want to have faith and we want to feel our spirit and our oneness. And we want to be present in the moment. We want to be grateful for what we have, but we will also want to ascend and elevate. And so that's the way in which I see manifestation.
Mhm.
Some people are just so far off into the future that they're not even experiencing today.
Yeah.
How you experience today will determine how quickly that future becomes your today. So
Yeah.
for me, that's just a way I've recently started to describe my approach.
Mhm. Yeah. Or they're either not in the future, but they could also be stuck in the past and
Well,
recreating their future, from all the past frustrations, disappointments, and things like that.
oh, yes. Oh, yes. And that used to be me. Like, I used to lay in bed at night and I used to relive things. But you are literally using your imagination to re-experience something that happened in the past, and your body's thinking it's real. Like, you're believing it's happening to you over and over and over again. So I'm very conscious of
Yeah.
the things that I replay in my mind for sure.
It's almost like, you almost have to be a little bit impersonal about, it's just the word that just came to me while talking to you. It's like you just have to almost like just let go of that old stuff and just like depersonalize it and just realize that like everything that you're projecting on the screen of the mind, is what you are creating, whether it happened before, it's happening now, you're
Yeah.
recreating it.
Well, I actually have in my new book called The Best of Yourself, I have a chapter called You Take Things So Personal. And the
Why
reason,
is it's so weird I tapped into that energy.
yeah, you take things so personal. Like, people used to say that to me all the time, like,
Mm,
because I've been a very sensitive woman. I've been very emotional. But really, it's so true in the fact that I made things about me when they weren't not about me. And I took them personal and I inflated them and I created stories. And so taking things personal has truly been something that has kept me in that lack of worthiness and that not good enough, flawed, I'm kind of a problem or a broken thing. But moving into and out of that, not taking it personal and seeing it, use the word impersonal, which I love so much, but you can also use the word like neutrality.
mhm.
Like, it is what it is and it's not real. It's an illusion. I love Neil Donald Walsh. He says, nothing you observe is real. And I believe that. So when things happen and I'm like, oh, wow, I'm observing an illusion right now. Because once you make it about you and you make it personal and you give it meaning, it's important. It's going to impact you, not necessarily in a positive way.
Absolutely. Well, I'm just gobbling all this up. This is rich. This is really, really great stuff. So in your book, I think you talk about how to manifest the right way. Is there a right way and a wrong way to manifest?
You know, that's such a fun question. It's so interesting to answer that because you're always manifesting. So it's like,
Hmm.
you know, you can't turn it off. You
Hmm.
can't stop doing it. So people decide they want to start manifesting. And I'm like, okay, well, what you're actually going to do is become aware of how you've been manifesting and then consciously choose to do it in a new way. But why people come to me, and I think is interesting, and I've learned just from other people. So why do you want to learn from me? What is it? And it's really the effortless way.
Uh-huh.
And I truly believe in the law of least action. So I don't want to take 25 steps to the realization of my manifestation. I want to take 3 if I can. And
Ooh.
I used to think that meant, oh, I'm lazy or I want to take a shortcut or whatever. But no, actually, I've realized that I've had this desire to live according to natural law for a long time. And like, nature takes the easiest route, it takes the fastest route, it takes the least action route. And so we should all want to do that. But for whatever reason, we were programmed to believe that it has to be hard and we have to wear this badge of honor that says, I earned this. I worked really hard. I'm exhausted. I'm stressed and I earned this. And so it's like a plaque, like, okay, now I can celebrate my success. Well, I'm here to say, like, what if we could celebrate our success by saying, I only worked 4 hours a day and I only, I travel the world while I built this beautiful empire and I go to the spa every Friday and I spend the evening with my kids. So people come to me to help them to manifest because I'm not going to tell you to write things out 100 times. I'm not going to tell you that you have to have a strict plan and that you have to write things out all the time over and over again. I'm going to tell you that you can just be, you can accept a new belief in an instant that it can be easy, hashtag let it be easy. And so whatever you want is right there, but how much are you willing to allow yourself to let it come in? And so I'm very much in the feminine. I'm very much in the ease and the flow, but I'm very much in the like simplicity of it. Like, let's go down to like, what are the most powerful beliefs that we can change? And let's change those first.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it. And you know what? You are so speaking my language right now because, I had a little bit of an epiphany, and you're just bringing that back up for me.
Oh, good.
Um, when, I always want people to I always wanted people to realize how hard I work, because like that this just didn't come that easy, and you think that, whatever. And and then it just kind of like dawned on me. It's like, why do I need people to think that about me? Why wouldn't it be just as, if not more impressive for people to know how it just came so easy to me? And so that was something that I've recently been shifting into, and we literally have a motto around here now called easy and effortless.
Mm, yeah.
But I want you to what is the mental shift that a person might need to make in order to release that block that it has to be hard?
Yeah. So I work with a lot of people who have been in their masculine energy quite a bit. And so,
Mhm.
for anybody that uh, maybe needs a little refresher about that, but like masculine energy, I don't mean men versus women. I mean the mechanical, the do.
Yeah.
So the go out and the do and to work your business. And I was one of those. Like I learned from my dad that it is important to work hard and work lots of hours and show up and, you know, create the success. And so I did a lot of that. It was the physical movement of my body towards my goal.
Mhm.
And so when you come from a place like that, where that's your normal and that's your natural state of being, as soon as you stop that, your body's going to be like, "Oh, you're not doing enough. You're lazy. Like you're avoiding, you're procrastinating, you're putting it off. You should work harder." And so I really had to teach myself in those moments where I felt like I wasn't doing enough to tell myself, I've done enough today. I've done
Mhm.
enough today.
Mhm.
And I truly believe that my most powerful business tool is my imagination. And so I am going to imagine myself doing a task in my business more so than I'm actually going to do the task in my business. So when I actually do the task, it's successful and it works on the first time because it's like the seventh time. So I think the surrender is in all things lead to the end result. And so if all things lead to the end result, in which way do I want this journey to go? Do I want it to go working 10 hours a day or do I want to do 3? And so if you're going to do 3 and not 10, for the other 7 hours in the day, you're going to be in your feminine. You're going to allow, you're going to let, you're going to surrender, you're going to dream. But the fastest route to your manifestation is just being as much as you possibly can. So I know in law of attraction and manifestation, act as if is a very common statement. I don't like it. And I'm honest about the things that I don't like and the reason I don't like it. Act as if feels hard. It feels like I'm pretending. I'm acting like something I don't believe I am. So I use the language practice being. So
Yeah.
I'm going to practice being confident today. I'm going to
Mhm.
practice being a millionaire today. I'm going to practice changing my beliefs today. I'm going to practice surrender today. And so when you're practicing something, you are that version of you already. You're just being that version every single day. And that has allowed me to shift into a new identity of myself almost immediately by just practicing being.
I love it. Yeah. Because I've always felt that manifestation is about being the person who, about growing yourself into the person who, is being the person who has manifested that already.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Manifestation is becoming aware of a version of yourself that you just aren't yet aware of. That's
Yeah.
it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So tell us a little bit about your Diamond Academy
Mhm.
coaching. How did that get created?
Oh, it's so beautiful because it's an example of manifestation in a nutshell. Like so how willing I was to accept beliefs about myself, so much so I named my company after a manifestation. So when I started coaching in Bob Proctor's world, I was partnered with him. So I didn't work for him. I worked alongside him, and I sold one of his programs, and I became a consultant. And when I started doing that, he had different levels of recognition, different pin levels. He had a
Mm.
silver pin, a gold pin, and a diamond pin. And the diamond pin was the top level, and only two people had ever reached that level before. And
Two
both
people.
two people. One took like 5 years, and then the other one took like 14 months. And when I started my business in January of 2020, I was like, well, I'm going to be a diamond pin holder, am I not? Okay, here we go. So I, not long after that, I made the decision. I named my company Diamond Academy because I accepted the belief that I am a diamond pin holder, and I acted in that assumption in every way, and I named my company it. And so people think, is it because a diamond is, like under pressure? And I'm like, no, it was actually, I acted in an assumption of a goal that I had set for myself. And so I ended up reaching my diamond pin in the fastest time ever in about, I think it was 12 months and 3 days. And it was powerful and beautiful, and a beautiful part of my journey for sure.
Oh, that is beautiful. Well, tell us a little bit about like what a person can expect, with doing some
Diamond,
coaching with you. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so Diamond Academy, I created, I wanted it to be like an innovative educational institution, not like a traditional school, but non-conventional. And it's like the School of You, but more so about understanding like personal growth and development and your journey towards that best of yourself. I like to use that language. And I really wanted to teach people ways in which they could tap in and tune in to whatever it is that they desire in life, but for the journey to be really amazing. And so we have all kinds of courses and programs and masterminds and live events. We have an in-person one coming up in Toronto. Manifest Toronto's coming up in October. So all of the ways. Oh, I have a retreat too, actually. I'm doing my Rise retreat. So I take people through a 3-day course in person in a luxurious Mexican resort,
Ooh.
where I take them through a rise in consciousness over the 3 days. One of my favorite readings from Neville Goddard, actually. I teach it and take them along a beautiful journey. But so lots of different things, but we have everything for things for pretty much everyone, entrepreneurs and executives, but we also have things for nurses. Many nurses follow me, teachers follow me, anybody that wants to change their circumstance.
Yeah, and so you have entry levels for all different,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
different people's levels of where they're at with their finances.
Yes, yes. And I had another huge intuitive hit come in. So I will be launching something in the fall that is brand new. It does not exist in this space at all.
Uh-huh.
And I went to Paris to do a photo shoot for it, and it's coming into the physical.
Woo, love it, love it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So let's switch over just briefly to some advice that you might have for those who are looking to manifest relationships.
Oh, this one is so fun. This one is really, really fun. I think the first step is to not consider the relationship at all first, but to consider yourself.
Mm.
We know that we attract based on who we are and what we think about ourselves. And so if you are someone that is in a moment in your life where you're lonely and you're desiring company, stop right now, because you're not actually going to attract to you what you truly want, but what's going to fill the void.
Hmm.
And so I would repair that void first, choose solitude instead of loneliness. There's a difference, and the difference is the choice in the way in which you see it. So choosing to be single for a while and to work on yourself and love yourself, turn all of that beautiful energy inward, become the best of yourself first. That's confident, that's loving, that's caring, that believes in themselves, that's going to let things be easy. Because if you have a pattern, you've been in a lot of relationships that were dramatic, you're just going to recreate that. So let's go within. So I always say go within first. And then before you think about the relationship or the person you want, many people go next to the person. I say, no, go to the actual partnership, the relationship. What do you desire in a relationship? How do you want it to be? How do you want to feel? what are the ways in which you want to exist in a relationship and partnership. And once you have that, then think about who would I love to then fill that relationship. Because I think we get confused sometimes. We think we want a person, and then that person seems to check it all off, but then the relationship that we have together isn't good. It's dramatic and it's confusing, and we're in our humans all the time and we're fighting. And so for me, it's like yourself first. Think about the relationship and what you would love. What's your ideal relationship? And then who would be the ideal person? And then it's your job to not accept anything less than the standard that you've set for yourself. So if you're going to choose something from a past version of you, you're just recreating the old and not stepping into the new. So you need to practice being the worthy, beautiful spirit that you are, that is not going to accept anything other than what is the best for you.
100%.
Yeah.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I luckily have a wonderful love in my life, my husband of 15 years, and I will tell you, it was pretty much exactly what you said. And
Mhm.
also just reiterating the point you made earlier is, not coming from that need, but coming
Yeah.
from, that want. And people thought I was crazy with the list of, qualities that I was seeking in a person, and holding out for that. But you know what? I figured, hey, I'd rather wait, 5 years for, the right person than spend 25 years or however long with the wrong person.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm newly single. So for me, I was in a relationship for 17 years. And now I have this beautiful new awareness and new ideas of what I would really, really love. And, the decision that I made for myself is that I'm not going to keep anything in my life unless it adds to it, until it adds to it. So if it's not making my life better in some way,
Yep.
then I'm not interested. So that also means if you're just kind of keeping it the same, like if you're not really adding to it, if you're causing me to go into my human or to be stressed or for me to be sad or to feel unworthy or anything like that, no way. And I understand my own role in how I react and respond to people,
Mhm.
but I know when something matches my energy and when it doesn't. And I know when it gives me peace and when it doesn't. And so it's up to me to then let things go when it doesn't match.
Beautiful. Well, it's great that you had that awareness and
Mhm.
just the confidence and the integrity to know what's for you. I think integrity is such a huge quality when it comes to manifesting because, like we ultimately are, we're only going to create what we believe is right for us. And
Absolutely. Yeah, I love the word integrity and authenticity too.
mhm,
I
absolutely.
think there's a lot of people that want to manifest a great life for themselves, but the lack of authenticity with themselves keeps them from it.
Oh,
Being really honest with myself
hmm.
is so important. Like, why am I pissed off? Why am I upset? Why am I sad? Why am I feeling this way? And when I actually acknowledge that that is how I'm feeling,
Hmm.
I release any judgment, but then I allow myself to go, okay, so what part of me can rise above this feeling and become more confident, more worthy? How can I become the best of myself and stop allowing myself to be taken by these emotions? And that's all on me. I have to be honest with myself. And if I'm not honest, how am I ever going to manifest? I won't.
Exactly. You have to be honest and authentic and true to yourself, because ultimately, you're going to be a match at with the vibration. And if you're not being honest with yourself, then there's something that's going to be a little off there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then you're like, why is this manifestation not here? Because you're not there.
Exact.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense. So much sense. Well, you really, this has really been an incredible conversation. I want to talk a little bit about, your upcoming book and any other projects you have coming out. So tell us a little bit about what we can expect with your best self book,
The best of yourself.
the best of yourself.
Yeah, so my first book was called Becoming the One. And that book, I had so many people asking me when I quantum leaped my life. I made $3.3 million dollars in my first year in business. And so
Woo!
everybody was like, how'd you do that? How'd you do that? That's 2020 over COVID. And so I just put it in a book. I told my story in this beautiful little book. And Bob Proctor actually wrote the foreword. So that was one of the manifestations was I would love for Bob to write the foreword, and ended up happening. So it was really, really beautiful and really special time in my life. But the book told the story, but it didn't give any teaching. I never moved into teaching. I never moved into giving you step by step guidelines or my perspective or perceptions on things or my opinion. I just told you what I did. And not even really that descriptive, like just I grew my faith and blah, blah, blah. So, this book, The Best of Yourself, is a follow up to that because Becoming the One was really about how I became one with God, for sure. But it was also about when I became one with the divine within me and my powers were all realized. And that was when I became the best of myself. As far as I'd gone till that point. I mean, it's a continual journey. And The Best of Yourself, I actually got from Genevieve Behrens' Your Invisible Power, which is one of my favorite books on visualizations. And at the end of the book, she says something about the power of visualization will help you become the best of yourself. And I was like, that's the name of my book. That's it. There it is. Just like she just threw it at me. And it's really, really about not being better than anybody, not hating who you used to be, but just every day becoming a better version of you, an elevated version of you, and rising into a higher level of consciousness so that your experience of life is as you desire it to be.
That is beautiful. I will definitely be your first well, probably not your first, but I definitely am gonna get a copy of that book, and I highly, highly recommend getting that, book. You just I mean, you learn from people who are already doing it, people, it's like,
Yeah.
that's the easiest thing is really just learn from find a mentor, like Kathleen Cameron. I mean, who's already where you are and can lay out the steps. And it sounds like, you yourself, you've been divinely guided. Had the opportunity to, really enrich your life with
Mhm.
some of the, Bob Proctor teachings. And I'm sure even, goes way beyond that.
Oh, yeah.
And so what are, some other, upcoming projects beyond the book? Is there what else is on the
Yeah.
horizon?
Yeah. So there's so much stuff coming up. It's actually quite beautiful just how quickly the manifestations are coming since I shifted into a new level. The book is coming out. We're doing an in-person event, Manifest Toronto, October the 14th.
Mhm.
My retreat is October 26th to 29th in Isla du Mujeres, I think is how you pronounce it. I'm so
You're
sorry
gonna
for
have to learn to pronounce it before you go.
if I messed that up, I'm so sorry. I am launching something in the fall that is going to be welcoming people home, I will just say. So that's going to be coming in the fall as well. And then I actually got the beautiful honor of being asked to be in the new Think and Grow Rich sequel movie. So Think and Grow Rich Legacy now has a sequel called Mums Rising. And so they interviewed me in a beautiful $68 million mansion in Bel Air that I manifested. And that will be coming out early next year. And so I'm super grateful for it all, loving every single moment of it. And I truly, truly know after this past 3.5 years that anything is possible. The originating thought is just within yourself.
Beautiful. I can't even really think of a better way to end this. So just tell our listeners essentially where they can find out more about you and get
Yeah.
involved in some of your upcoming projects.
Beautiful. Instagram is always such a great place. Instagram will show you a little bit about my life, a little behind the scenes. It's almost like it's like my little diary. I share my life, my travels, my things, all over the place. So Instagram for sure. But the Manifested with Kathleen Cameron podcast is going to be shifting. It's going to be moving into some interview styles. So I have a big vision for that podcast. So stay tuned for that. YouTube is updated here and there. And then stay tuned. The end of September pre-sale of The Best of Yourself will be coming out all over the world in Amazon and in bookstores and all that stuff.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for all of your sharing and insights and wisdom and, telling us about your story. And you really have provided some significant golden nuggets that I believe our
Mhm.
audience can walk away with, and I'm absolutely sure your book will be an amazing success, your projects as
Mhm.
well, and so you guys go get a copy of Kathleen's book, and I look forward to continuing to watch you grow on your journey.
Aw, thank you. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.